He gets up as I'm going live.
Start the music. If we come in, I'll
Oh my God. I hit live, go live, and then he gets up. I hit go live and you get up.
Well, I needed to get the essentials. Like, but we're not live. This is the portion of the live where like you find creative ways to embarrass me. This isn't like we've played the cool EDM music and like we're jamming out and you get the voice in the background.
There's so many things wrong with what you just said. There's no cool EDM music. Secondly,
yeah, there is.
If there was, it certainly is not our theme song. Thirdly, we don't ever have to try to do anything to embarrass you. And I mean this in a loving way. It just seems that you kind of do it by accident every time we're coming on air. Now, which is funny because when we're actually recording and podcasting, like, you're great. You know what I mean? It's just that leading up to it, you have problems like putting down, lighting, and
Oh, all right. Let's do this.
It's a work in progress. Here comes the EDM.
This is Fantasy Intervention. Now here to intervene with your fantasy life, Chase Vernon.
Totally hit the wrong one, but go ahead. Take this show away, Jacob. Jacob, you're on mute.
And now Jacob's on mute.
Look, Chase.
Jacob.
Okay, this is a Chase. You do your thing. You have the EDM music come on, and it's bumping. And then you're like, Jacob, you're gonna lead us in, and then you muted me. But whatever. How are you all doing? I didn't mute myself. Whatever. How are y'all doing, everybody? It is Free Agent Frenzy week. I am Jacob Sanderson. Chase is letting me actually host the show tonight. It hasn't gone well so far, so this might be the first and last time he lets me bring in the show. But I'm here with FF_intervention, Chase Vernon, and at Shane is the worst. Shane, Chase, how are you guys doing today? Start with Shane.
Awesome. There's football stuff to talk about. That's all that matters in life. Offensive football, not defensive. I don't care about defensive side of the ball. Fucking stupid IDP. No, let's roll. I'm ready. It's not that I hate IDP or the people that play it. Maybe I do. No, I definitely hate IDP. Maybe I hate the people that play it. I'm not sure. Anyway, Chase.
Shane, make up your mind. Do you hate IDP or do you just hate the people that play it? Come on.
No. I definitely hate. Ooh, is this the AJ Dillon show or the Hernandez Club? I like Hernandez Club. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading the comments already. Sorry.
Getting distracted. Chase, do you hate defense and everyone who plays it?
No, I actually love defense. I think the defense is very, very important. And I think knowing which defenders you're going up against is very, very important, Shane. And I think that you need to start playing in the right IDP leagues in order to learn this stuff.
No, definitely.
That's
the problem.
This is like when you have a food. It's like, I think it's a Denny Carter bit that I'm stealing. But whenever there's like a food that you don't like and people are like, oh, but have you had good steak?
Yeah.
That's what it's like with IDP. It's like, oh, but have you played in the right IDP league? No, like I see Tom Tipple, FF_IMBQ. He's in the chat right now, and he seems offended. Tom's invited me into multiple different IDP leagues, and the only thing that I got out of it was guilt leaving those IDP leagues. I have zero interest in ever playing in an IDP league. It's horrible. It's the worst.
Way to alienate the chat, guys. Way to alienate the chat.
Well, it's Tom. I alienated him a long time ago.
It's fine. It'll be fine. So AJ Dillon, top 12 back or no, Jacob?
Well, it's good to start here. You know what? I spent too much time procrastinating today, figuring out how to do a green screen. I wanted to just have a large AJ Dillon quad behind me, helping me power through this episode. But it's sad times. AJ Dillon, premier generational talent, has been blocked on the depth chart for probably 2 more years. With the 4-year deal, there's an out in a couple of years. And he'll get his chances. He'll still play. I expect to still see him out there for, 40% or so of the snaps. I'm sure Jamal Williams will be leaving town. But it's sad. I'd put A.J. Dillon back down in sort of the Tony Pollard range of backups who shouldn't be backups. But unfortunately, your forehead worked a lot better. Thanks, Jordan. It's sad. It's sad. But Aaron Jones, great for him. I mean, I love Aaron Jones, one of my favorite running backs in the league. He got the bag. I just wish he could have gone somewhere, with some jaggy back like Gaskin to go and have the starting job and let A.J. Dillon, become Derrick Henry overnight. But remember, Derrick Henry did not break out till week 14 of year 3. So we got about a year and a half here till we have to take the L.
I love that we just keep comping A.J. Dillon to Derrick Henry, who is the absolute unicorn of unicorns. Like unicorns look at Derrick Henry and go, holy shit, that is rare. So no, let's keep comping everyone to him. But here's what I thought for A.J. Dillon truthers. Or I don't know if we use that term anymore.
I'll use it. I'm a truther.
World. Whatever you cool kids call it now.
One who sees truth.
There you go. You youngins. So now you get to talk about A.J. Dillon still like he would have happened and just blame it on the fact that he was blocked. It was never his fault. Never his fault that he'll never turn out to be a top 12 running back because his prime years are spent behind Aaron Jones. So it's not his fault. It's not your fault, Jacob.
It's a Goodwill Hunting effect.
Exactly.
I mean, Jamal Williams isn't returning, so maybe it goes in like a 50-50 timeshare, and we can still have games where we can trust A.J. Dillon. Maybe.
It's cute. It's cute.
Aaron Jones never plays a full season. We're going to get at least like 2 weeks with A.J. Dillon being total chalk in DFS, and we all get to jam him into our cash lineups and rejoice. That's what we get to look forward to, Chase. And when that happens, you can bring me on the Sunday morning DFS show, and we can just get ready for A.J. Dillon season. Long delayed.
You get Jamal Williams plus. So you're getting like 115% of Jamal Williams. And I like Jamal Williams, great backup. Felt good about plugging him into my 12th spot when I had 12 team leagues or 12 starting men leagues. And then, whenever Jones is out, I start him.
Is this a good thing for Aaron Jones? Because I imagine that most people who aren't as deranged as I am in their A.J. Dillon infatuation are probably more concerned with Aaron Jones, the one who actually got $48 million. Would you have preferred Aaron Jones somewhere else, or is this best case scenario for him?
Do I really have to talk about it? Because I'm pretty sure that he would have belonged in probably 10 other places that would have utilized him better than Green Bay does, or at least gotten the volume out of him.
Well, here's the thing. So part of Aaron Jones's allure, his mystique, if you will, his je ne sais quoi, is the fact that he is super efficient.
Yeah.
And, I'm old enough to remember a time when Lamar Miller was a sexy, fast kind of back that we all wanted to get more carries. And as soon as
great speed score.
Like, holy shit. No, that was a terrible idea. Can we bring that back? And Bill O'Brien was like, no. This is what you wanted. This is what you're going to get.
Well, when we get to the red zone, he can't touch it. He cannot touch it in the red zone.
Right. So I'm fine with this because we've seen what Aaron Jones is. He's a top 6 back with those touches. And I'm fine with that. I don't want to see more because I got a feeling I see more. I'm going to see less by week 9, week 10, or I'm definitely going to see a drop in efficiency.
So Jones is like hot sauce to you. In small doses, it makes the meal. You put too much of it, you don't want to just drink that stuff. It could be a problem in say, Arizona.
Anytime I bring up hot sauce on a podcast, I get in trouble and I pretty much die. So I'd rather not talk about hot sauce.
What's wrong with hot sauce? I think we need to hear that story.
The coming in hot draft prior to the season where I almost died eating way too much hot sauce. But it's okay. We'll talk about it another time.
That sounds like a good bit. I definitely want to do that sometime. All right. So if you've been following along with free agency, you've seen a lot of tweets that involve the New England Patriots because they've signed everyone who can catch passes and a few people who can't. So we got Jonnu Smith got $50 million. Hunter Henry got $37 million. Kendrick Bourne got.
They're both tight ends.
They are. They're both tight ends. So we got $87 million. Wow, symbolism. That's how they're going to replace Gronk. They put $87 million up there for 2 tight ends. Then they got Bourne, $22 million on Bourne. and $26 million on Nelson Aguilar in what's supposed to be a bad wide receiver market, right? All these wide receivers are saying we can't get any money. No one's paying us any money. And the Patriots said, that's fine. We'll give $48 million to Bourne and Aguilar. What do you think of these signings from like a real football perspective? Are they like remotely good? Has Bill lost it?
I think this should open up targets for N'Keal Harry. That's the biggest takeaway that I have.
Yeah, they're tight end 3.
He won't
another roster.
No, I'm saying because now he won't have to deal with double coverage or anything like that. You know, it's going to relieve pressure. And you talked about efficiency, Shane.
Not a lot of people cover you on the bench.
Yeah, I mean,
he'll be wide open. And Cam does hit the sideline quite a bit. So actually, that might help his efficiency.
This feels like the worst shopping spree ever. Like this is like, isn't this like when you go to like, not even Five and Below, because Five and Below has some good shit. But like you're like the Dollar General, and you're just like, I spent $70 there, and then you just open up your bag, and you're like, what the fuck? I got a broken sparkler. I got Christmas lights for a plant. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like what was I doing? Like I got this pizza cutter for left-handed people. These are
What? Has this happened to you, Shane? Has this
left-handed
happened?
people. Left-handed people. No,
do you make different pizza cutters for the left hand?
well, it's different because when you're right, I don't know. Left-handed people are different from what I understand.
If you're left-handed, let us know in the chat if you have a different pizza cutter.
Nothing. I like nothing about this. I mean, I loved Juju Smith there until Hunter Henry signed, right?
Yeah, it was fun for a day. It was a really great day to like Johnny Smith.
I will say this. I do like it for whatever quarterback ends up playing for them because at least they have professional football players that are better than N'Keal Harry and Damiere Byrd. And I liked Jacoby Myers, but I guess Bill did not. Yeah, I don't understand. Take that $48 million and get yourself a real wide receiver. Since there's several of those on the market.
Well, Nelson Aguilar is making more annually than Corey Davis. Like that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
I don't hate that. I mean, it's about even for me. I think they're about the same player, just different positions, but the same talent level.
I mean, just go get like freaking Galladay or something if you're going to spend $98 million.
They spin
Bob
the opposite
said,
direction, exactly.
Yeah, Bob said left-handed pizza cutter spin the opposite direction.
Bob's a Patriots fan.
Bob
wants to let us know what he feels about these moves.
I would love to.
Is that what he feels about those moves? Is the crying, laughing face
spinning the wrong side? I would like for Aguilar to continue to be used as a deep threat. That's fun. And Cam, even though as bad as he was last year, I think he can still do that. I don't even know if he's the starter though. I mean, they gave him enough money that he could be a highly paid backup with incentives to be a underpaid starter. So whatever. I mean, they have a bunch of professional players, so their offense will be wildly mediocre as opposed to bad.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be at least interesting.
I'm very interested to see where they go with the draft because, like, I feel like they're setting up pieces around, you know, a certain play to be able to trade up because they're acquiring some of these mid-level talents or whatnot. You know, maybe trade up from a first-round pick next year, along with one this year, to go up and grab a quarterback. You know, they're trying to surround the team with veterans, essentially. You know, and veterans that have been on winning teams for the majority of their career when it comes to the Eagles and when they were winning, you know, when it comes to, you know, the Titans and the culture that they had there. So what you just froze.
Didn't they give Jalen Mills like a ridiculous amount of money too?
Yeah, that was.
I know that was defense. I only know because he was an Eagle and he played defensive bad. He was very bad. And Bill was like, "I like what I've seen from you, sir, and here's $56 million or something ridiculous."
Yeah, it didn't make a lot of sense. I mean, none of these signings to me are. I don't know. Like you played an auction draft, right? And that's really what free agency is. It's like whenever I'm in an auction, my strategy is always I put the players I don't want up, right, so that people will spend all their money. So I'm like, okay. First pick, I'm going to put Kenyon Drake up for option. And then someone's like, oh, I got to get Kenyon Drake. And then they spend $8. It's like, all right, that's $8 you don't have to worry about when there's good players. That was like the Patriots. Like they went in. They were like, okay, yeah, I'm pressing the button. We're going to get Bourne. We're going to get Johnny. We're going to get Aguilar. And like, you know, now there's teams. There's teams that are sitting here with all this money left. All the good players are still left. So I think the Patriots did the rest of the league a bit of a service. It would be like, doesn't it remind you almost of like the NBA? Remember when the Lakers went out and got like Luol Deng and Timothy Mozgov and like they're just spending money that they felt like they could or that they had to, and then regret kicked in a couple years later. I think Nelson Aguilar is like the Luol Deng of this free agent class, in my opinion.
Oh, dang. I like it. I think because I haven't seen any of the actual, I don't think anyone has. We haven't seen the actual details, right? Because none of it's official until tomorrow anyway.
Yeah.
I got a feeling like a lot of these contracts they're going to be done with after next year. Maybe they're just trying to hit that salary cap floor because they were so far under the cap. But again, it feels like you could have, instead of giving all this money to Juju Smith, Hunter Henry, Kendrick fucking Bourne, Nelson Aguilar, go get Juju Smith-Schuster and Kenny Galladay, Juju Smith-Schuster and Marvin Jones. But whatever. Cam is dust. Baseball.
Well, what about
Boot.
one of the best? What a boot! One of the greatest quarterbacks of our time. He's played for most of the teams in the National Football League. Oh, Fitzmagic. It's going to Washington football team. We got Fitzmagic for Chase's. This is your former team, right? Are you a fan again of the Washington football team with Fitzmagic?
I'm slowly working my way back, but not because of Fitzmagic necessarily. It's just because I feel like the team is finally starting to do the right things. I expected news to break that they just signed 20 free agents, and that didn't happen. So that was good. Meanwhile, Jacob, could you check the private chat? But no, I'm sitting here and I'm writing an article right now on Fitzmagic, and as a fact, and we sit here and we look at his best fantasy season ever as quarterback 11, I believe. So I don't think we're going to see a major uptick. I don't think we're going to see, I got to go play Fitzmagic. I got to go buy him. But for Terry McLaurin aspects of things, he does things that are, absolutely incredible when he comes on the team for wide receivers. Just a little snippet for the article that's coming out. There's only one wide receiver who didn't elevate their performance when Fitzmagic was playing versus Fitzmagic's replacement. That includes Jameis Winston and, everybody else they try to fill in. The only wide receiver who did not improve when it comes to his efficiency was Robbie Anderson, and that was in 2016. So every other player from 2015 up until now has actually improved their efficiency levels as a wide receiver, I should say, when playing with Fitzpatrick versus, the replacement level player. So I'm excited for Terry McLaurin. I still have to do the research for the tight end aspect of things, but as the wide receiver aspect of things, I'm excited for whoever Washington decides to bring in free agency of the draft, along with, Terry McLaurin, of course.
Shane, is Terry McLaurin a wide receiver one or the wide receiver one? Shane, you are muted.
Well, he's definitely not the wide receiver one. I could see him being low-end wide receiver one easy, though. I mean, we've seen what he's done with absolutely horrendous quarterback play. And Fitz isn't great. I know that it's fun to pretend that he's something that he's not, but he's still more competent than anything that McLaurin's ever seen in his career. And Alex Smith couldn't throw anymore. I mean, Alex Smith's ADOT was actually negative, which is or his air yards were negative as a quarterback, which technically is impossible. I'm not sure how he did that. Yeah, I like McLaurin. I love this from McLaurin. And look, Antonio Gandy Golden, right?
Oh, jeez.
Whatever his name is. He knows his name.
Oh, were you a Gandy Golden person last year?
No, I was coming in.
I bet Chase was. Chase feels like a Gandy Golden guy.
I was. Then he got drafted late, and then he didn't do shit the entire year. And I said, okay, well, he's dead. But no, I love it. I love it for Thomas, and I love it for McLaurin.
Oh, I love it for Logan Thomas.
How could you not?
I mean, the thing with Fitzpatrick is it's not actually that he's good. He's fine. But of all of the not actually good quarterbacks, he's the best quarterback your fantasy wide receiver can ask for. And because he'll actually sling it. Him and Jameis Winston are kind of analogous in that realm where they're bad in the best ways for fantasy, right? Their mistakes are sometimes they're going to throw a pick six at the beginning of the game. You'll start down 7-0. That's going to be great for Terry McLaurin and Logan Thomas. Right now, they just have to throw their way out of it. He's not going to be that check down Charlie, like an Alex Smith was. He's a guy who's not afraid to throw it into double coverage, even when he probably shouldn't. He's going to be a very active quarterback. He's going to be moving the ball, and he's going to move the offense. And he's just fun, man. Like, football is so much more fun when Ryan Fitzpatrick is out there slinging the rock and doing things and wearing weird things and having that sexy ass beard. So I'm all aboard the Fitzpatrick train. Anything else on Fitz, or should we talk about the other premier quarterback signing for the Chicago Bears?
Oh, God.
Jesus Christ.
Andy Dalton,
So,
QB1 on the Chicago Bears. It's pretty sad.
One of my patron chats today, and I forget who said it. I think it might have been Scott Connor. He noted that this is one of the saddest things I've ever heard in my fucking life. That this is probably Allen Robinson's best quarterback since high school.
Yep, it's very true. And I mean, the reality of the situation is like Andy Dalton was never better really than maybe above average, but the mediocre quarterback play is still better than anything that Allen Robinson's had. Now, it kind of makes me a little bit nervous because I don't know if he's going to hyper target Allen Robinson. Like, I was hoping Trubisky would come back and still be that same hyper targeted player if Allen Robinson is going to be that guy. It makes me nervous for Allen Robinson now.
Really, I think Dalton will do that. I mean, Dalton's like fed the crap out of AJ Green for many, many years. He targeted Cooper a lot, who we talked about last show. You know, we were comparing Cooper to Robinson, and now Robinson gets to live the Amari Cooper experience. I think he could be okay, but is Robinson really going to play for the Bears? Like, I'm seeing PJ Kenny here saying A-Rob's going to sit out the season. I mean, I don't know if he'll sit out the season, but I don't think he wants to play for the Bears. I assume that the Bears tagged him, you know, kind of under the assumption that hopefully he plays for them. And if not, hopefully you can at least trade him and you don't lose him for nothing. It wouldn't shock me in the slightest if Allen Robinson never plays for this team. I can't imagine he's going to be excited about the prospect of catching up from dandy Andy Dalton. But what do you folks think about A-Rob's value or Mooney? Or I know a lot of people like Cole Kmet.
Yeah, I mean, we look at Andy Dalton and his ability to target the tight end. It's never really happened. He's never really had a tight end that he's targeted. Shane, do you have?
What was going on?
Is Chase frozen here?
Chase is frozen. Okay. Well,
Okay.
I've had enough of Chase's shit, to be honest with you. I don't know who's going to kill him. But again, this is the same thing with the Washington weapons, right? It doesn't even matter. It's not the best quarterback in the league, but it doesn't matter because it's better than what the fuck they had. Andy Dalton.
Is it actually better than Mitch Trubisky?
Yeah, he'll target.
I'm not sure.
He's not going to run too. He doesn't have the ability to run.
That's true.
Yeah, there you go. He won't elevate anyone. He won't bring anyone down. But I think I'll hyper target Allen Robinson and Cole Kmet. I don't know how I feel about it for Darnell Mooney. I'd have to look at Andy Dalton's deep passing, which again can't be worse than what Nick Foles did.
I mean he threw it.
Can't be.
He threw it deep a bit last year. Like I had Dalton in a couple leagues. You know, I'm always a guy who's just plucking a lot of quarterbacks off the waiver wire if I can in my super flex league. So I remember starting Dalton a few times, and he could hit Cooper on the odd streak route every once in a while. He's still the red rifle. He can zip it down there every once in a while, but I don't know. It's not going to be great. I think like way back in the day, Taylor, who would know Andy Dalton better than anyone, is saying his deep passing is not accurate historically. I believe you, Taylor. I think we've seen Marvin Jones, I think way back in the day, had one pretty solid season as a deep threat with Andy Dalton, but I don't remember that ever being like a really large part of their offense in Cincinnati was the deep ball. So, but I don't know, maybe they can use Mooney in different ways. Like maybe they can use his speed more on slants and on screens and such. And I don't know, it'll be interesting. Taylor says, I've watched Andy Dalton lead AJ Green 3 yards out of bounds 800 times. So I'm sure Allen Robinson is used to that experience.
I mean, look, we're not saying Andy Dalton is great by any stretch of the imagination. We're saying, is he better than Mitch Trubisky? Mitch Trubisky was actually really good for fantasy towards the end of last year when he got back in there.
Cash game stud.
But he's never shown that that's who he is. And he only did that for a small stretch. For the rest of his time in Chicago, he was a detriment to everyone on that offense. I can't imagine that Andy Dalton is going to be absolutely detrimental. Although we did see Andy Dalton be a detriment to CeeDee Lamb last year.
Yeah.
But again, they had more weapons there. Like they had more. Maybe he was just confused. He's like, I don't know. Do I throw it to Cooper? Do I throw it to Gallup? CeeDee Lamb? His tight end's pretty good. He's not going to have that problem in Chicago.
That's not a problem.
No, it's like one guy, Allen Robinson, Kmet, and then Mooney. Like only those three should ever see targets. And I guess David Montgomery.
Yeah, but that's like, I mean, the thing with Dalton is, right, he's not Dak Prescott. So like that Dallas offense was zooming with Dak, who is an elite quarterback, who can support 2-3 wide receivers. Like Dalton's probably a guy who can support one wide receiver, especially at this point in his career. I think he's a bit of a diminished version of Andy Dalton. And so he can support one guy. That'll be A-Rob. I mean, it's tales old of time with A-Rob. He's going to get a lot of targets. A lot of them are going to whisk over his head. And most of them he'll catch because he's great. And he'll probably be like the wide receiver 9.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, it's what you expect now, right? I don't even know if we want Allen Robinson to have a good quarterback because I don't know if that would actually be any good for him at this point in his career. I don't know that he could make that adjustment. I think it would throw him out of whack and he'd end up having the worst season of his career because that's how fantasy works sometimes.
It would ruin the experience, right? It's like telling like a 65-year-old man who's had nothing but canned vegetables his whole life. It's like, okay, like now we're going to start gardening and he's not even going to enjoy it. He won't even know what to do with it.
Here's the thing. When you eat canned vegetables your whole life, you generally don't make it to 65. Because
but A-Rob's the exception. Oh my God, look at Chase. He's back.
A lot of preservatives, which are bad for you. And also, you're eating canned vegetables a lot. It shows you make really bad decisions. So you probably
so did Allen Robinson. He signed with the Bears.
Drink and drive. You probably smoke. You know what I mean? Like you're not making good choices.
Okay, we don't need to talk about Melvin Gordon. Chase, any final thoughts on the red rifle before we move to our next little free agent signing here?
I was actually trying to miss that section. That's why I left. Well, that, and I actually have the power cord within stretching range. So when I was stretching out one of my legs, I think I might have hit it. Either that or my computer just hates me and wanted to reset. So either one.
Well, we got you now. Next up on the list, Corey Davis going to the Jets, Jets. How does this affect Corey Davis? How does it affect Mims? Who's the quarterback there? And, are they going to like throw in a Corey Davis?
So the one thing I will say is, and I said this yesterday to someone at some point somewhere. It was probably one of my kids, and they didn't even ask. But if Mims was going to be a wide receiver 1 for an NFL team, Corey Davis isn't going to stop him. So if you believed in Mims before this, you should still believe in Mims. Again, you can't have just one wide receiver on each team. It would look funny. I'm pretty sure it's an illegal setup. Like you can't snap a play with like.
Have you told the Titans that yet? That's their plan.
They have AJ Brown and
them or the Vikings.
No, they still have Thielen.
Yeah, at least they still have Thielen and
the Titans. The Titans wide receiver 2 is Khalif Raymond.
Yeah. He's very fast, very little, and had several 50-yard receptions because every week doing waiver wires, you'd go, "Ooh, who's this guy? Oh, not him again. No, no, I'm not falling for that."
He was like Jalen Guyton.
It's fine for Corey Davis, right? We want him in a situation where he can see 6 to 10 targets a week, right? I think the Jets can be that. I'm assuming the LaFleur offense is going to be slightly better than the Adam Gase offense, or it won't be the LaFleur offense very long. Who's a quarterback? Shit, if I know. It makes me feel like that they are going quarterback in the draft, though, is what it makes me feel like. It feels like Darnold's going to be getting out of there, but if he's not, he's finally going to have a competent-looking wide receiver room, right? With Mims and Davis and Jamison Crowder.
Yeah, it's actually an NFL group. I love what you said, Shane, about, if Mims is the guy, Davis won't stop him. Because this is like my rant of the show. This drives me nuts on Twitter, is like when some guy gets signed, especially when it's not a good guy. Like when some guy like Corey Davis, who's fine, gets signed to a team and all of a sudden it's like, oh no, it's over for Mims. It's done. And we just saw this, with Emmanuel Sanders. Gabe Davis season, it's over. It's done. They signed Emmanuel Sanders, who's, like a senior citizen at this point. God bless him. It's like, no, Like, if you're betting on these young guys, you don't know if they're good or not yet. We have no idea if Mims is good. We don't know if Gabe Davis is good. They've shown something, and there's people that believe in them. But if you believe in these players to be something, then inherently they have to be good enough to beat out a Corey Davis or especially an Emmanuel Sanders, right? It's different if a team goes and signs Kenny Galladay, right? It's different for elite talent AJ Dillon, for instance, where you bring back Aaron Jones. You're not going to beat out Aaron Jones. But if you can't beat out Corey Davis, if you can't beat out Emmanuel Sanders, well, then I'm sorry, but then you're just not good, and it wouldn't have worked anyways. So, yeah, I'm seeing this high to the Jaguars, and we'll talk about the Jaguars in a bit, right? If you're a young player who we're expecting something of, believe in your players, because at the end of the day, if you're only acquiring these guys because of the situation, because of the vacated targets, shout out to Peter Howard, then then you're not buying them for the right reasons. You have to actually bet on the talent. Chase, what do you think of this, and what do you think of the Jeff situation with Corey Davis, pride of Western Michigan?
I'm a little bit nervous about it, to be honest with you guys, because of the fact that their offensive coordinator, Mike LaFleur, has never actually worked with a bigger, more physical wide receiver or jump ball wide receiver. He's always had small, almost kind of like scat backs. Like the closest person he had was Kendrick Bourne, who was more of a, I guess over the middle route running technician to an extent. I mean, if you want to call him that. But either way, like he's never had this outside type bigger threat. So I don't know if he's like, been salivating at the idea. He's like, oh, I can finally do what I want to do. Like I'm not just a wide receivers coach. I'm an offensive coordinator. Give me this guy. Let's work with him. Or if it's the front office trying to make a calculated decision to bring in a wide receiver who offers this aspect, and maybe he never even gets utilized. Maybe he just finds himself in, running ghost routes the entire time. And so that is actually very, very concerning for me and might scare me off of Corey Davis, especially if we don't have a preseason, which I don't know if we expect to necessarily. I mean,
sure. No, I'm just gonna. I have absolutely no inside information, but I'm just gonna announce now. Yeah, there's definitely going to be an NFL preseason this year.
2 games, right? 2 games.
Sure. Yeah.
We have NFL insider Shane Manila here.
He has a source. He's using a source.
Sources are telling me there will be at least 2 preseason games this year.
Wow, that's pretty clutch. You only get the finest new information on our Tuesday night show here with these types of sources. What about we mentioned Emmanuel Sanders? Do you care at all about Emmanuel Sanders? Is this the end of Gabe Davis' season? Was there ever going to be a Gabe Davis season?
I feel like we just talked about this, right? Exactly what you said. If Gabe Davis is going to break out, Emmanuel fucking Sanders is not stopping him. Gabe Davis looked phenomenal when John Brown wasn't in last year. If anyone wants to get ahead and be afraid that Emmanuel Sanders at the age of 34 is going to steal all the looks that Gabe Davis was going to get, okay, then sure, I'll take Gabe Davis. I like Sanders as a deep guy. You know what I mean? I'm in a lot of leagues that you start 11 or 12 players and it's 14 or 16 teams. He's perfectly fine there. I'm not going out of my way in any way whatsoever to get Emmanuel Sanders. But yeah, Gabe Davis is a guy. If whoever owns him in your league, if they're all woe is me now, shoot them an offer and see if you can. I'll give it 2 for him because he looked that good last year to me.
I'm with you. Did. You're a Gabe Davis guy, Chase. PJ Kenny says Gabe Davis is a baller. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on board with them. I honestly, I wanted to see Isaiah Hodgins in this offense, especially in the red zone.
Yeah,
unfortunately, Isaiah Hodgins didn't make it there, but Gabe Davis, who by the way looks like a Muppet, he honestly, he was clicking for me. He was doing everything he needed to do on a regular basis. He was somebody that I actually really appreciated everything that he did, whether it was contested catches, his route running, a lot of different things that I didn't appreciate at the rookie level. So he did that at a professional level for me. So it kind of swayed me. And I think that he is going to be maybe not a star, but he's going to be somebody that you're going to want to own in fantasy.
He's a guy that you drafted in the 4th round of your rookie drafts, if at all, last year.
Yeah.
And he's looking like he's definitely got wide receiver 3 upside. So you can't beat that.
That is for sure. Let's go down to Duval. Jacksonville Jaguars made a couple of signings. They got Carlos Hyde and Marvin Jones. Let's start with Hyde. How does this affect James Robinson? And I know We talked about this a little bit, sort of in theory, but what do you guys think? I'm seeing Hyde as dust. I mean, yeah, he's been dust that's been getting carries for a long time. He was dust like when he was 24. But what do you think of this for Carlos Hyde? Can he bring anything as James Robinson wheels up? Any concerns?
No, you should be happy if you have James Robinson in your league. These are the kind of dudes you want backing up your stars. Like, oh, you're going to get Carlos Hyde. If they would have gotten Kenyon Drake, I'd be like, fuck. If they would have gotten Aaron Jones, I would have been like, oh, well, it's good. No, James Robinson, you dead now, though. But a guy like that, you have to worry about. Carlos Hyde is not coming in there to take his job. And again, if Hyde takes your fucking job, well, then you were going to lose your job at some point anyway. You were just going to, like last year when he was at Seattle, and I guess he might not have been healthy. The rookie running back, I forget his name now because he didn't do shit.
DJ Dallas.
Yeah, there you go, DJ. Maybe he was hurt. I don't remember. But all I know is that Carlos Hyde took his job when Chris Carson wasn't able to play, and that showed me all I needed to know about DJ Dallas. Hyde is not going to hurt. He's inefficient. He's there for what he's good. You have to have backup running backs. Like we forget in fantasy, we're always like, oh, they signed such and such. Like, dude, your roster is 53 man deep. Like you don't go into a game with one running back. Like it's if you go in with three, teams are like, oh, we're a little low. You got to have someone there. You just have to. So yeah. I'm fine. I love that signing for Robinson.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I think that it's a good sign that James Robinson should be the primary back. I think that if they thought that James Robinson was the backup running back, they would have waited to draft somebody, or they would have brought in somebody like maybe Kenyon Drake or something along those lines. And I feel good because Carlos Hyde isn't a pass catching back. So now we have James Robinson, who, by the way, he can still catch passes. I'm not saying he's not a pass catching running back, but that's not what he's known for. So they didn't bring in, a scat back to take away third downs to try and alleviate his role. I feel good about James Robinson, and I'm going to explain even more why after you make this next discussion, or announce this next player, I should say.
Oh yeah, well, we'll talk about. I assume you're talking about Marvin, right? We'll talk about him in just a second. I'm seeing from PJ in the chat says, is Robinson worth a first-round pick in Dynasty? I think definitely yes. Now we could talk about though, sort of how high of a first, right? I'm sure we'd all give like the 1.12. How high would you go?
For a rookie.
In a rookie draft, I'm assuming he means a rookie pick. I certainly wouldn't be taking him with a first round to start. That seems ridiculous. But
I mean, he's very easily worth a one in a rookie draft. But
yeah, I mean, how high, right? Like, are we talking like, would you take him over any of Etienne, Harris, Williams, or would it be more of an end of the first round pick? I mean, because I feel the same way that you guys do about Carlos Hyde. Like I tweeted out, I was like, Carlos Hyde does not take touches from you. He simply, uses those which are left behind, because he's Carlos Hyde, right? That being said, he's so bad that they could still bring in, a Kenny Gainwell or Michael Carter. Those would be the two that would concern me because they're pass catchers. How high would you give up for James Robinson?
I'll take him over Williams, depending on landing spot. I'm not taking him over Etienne because I'm in love with Etienne or Etienne, however the Canadian way to say that is. Yeah, I'd give up probably 110 for him. He's a guy. Mid first is a little high for me. If we're talking about super flex. Mid to back first, like 107, 108 in one quarterback leagues. And, it's going to depend on obviously my team. But I hate when people say that. Whatever. I'd give up a 107 for him in a one quarterback. In a super flex, probably 108, 109.
It depends on Kenny Gainwell's landing spot. So Kenny Gainwell is kind of like the breaking point for me. If Kenny Gainwell ends up in a position where, we see like A.J. Dillon where he lands behind a starter that's guaranteed to start for a couple years, I'm probably going to not be off Gainwell because I love Kenny Gainwell and I think they can utilize him similar to the way that Arizona uses Chase Edmonds, but he can actually stay healthy. So I'm thinking, it depends on Kenny Gainwell's landing spot. If that ends up being, I think like 112 in a super flex, probably.
For when Kenny Gainwell, if you want Kenny Gainwell at 112 in a super flex, you can have 100% Kenny Gainwell exposure. You can have all the Gainwell you want. You'll be gaining share as well.
He's yours.
I think he's closer to like the 2.12.
No,
Gainwell's not getting drafted in the first 2 days.
He's the 4th overall running back ranked in this draft right now.
So
But that's like, and this is what one of my old bosses said to me. That's like being the smartest of the stupid kids. This isn't a deep
or like Canada's smartest person.
Who was the 4th running back this past year?
Last year, different. What? Okay, let me try
Cam
this.
Akers.
Where would Kenneth Gainwell be including the 2 running back classes, 2020 and 21? He'd be right around running back 37.
Wait,
I
what?
think let's actually go through this. I think he'd be like 9 or 10, right? Because like Taylor, obviously, you're taking above Gainwell. Taylor, Dobbins, Swift. Not even in order, but whatever. Taylor, Dobbins, Swift, Akers, Clyde. I think.
No.
Yes.
Not even close for me. Not even relatively close.
Okay, well now you're just being contrarian.
Can we?
I'm not being contrarian. Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
There we go. I muted Chase. So
that's a good host move. Good host.
I can take it off. No, I do not want Clyde Edwards-Helaire anywhere close to Kenny Gainwell. Okay, well, obviously pending landing spot.
Wait, I bet you. Wow. Okay, so Gibson for sure.
Yeah.
Etienne, Harris, Williams, right? Because you're saying he's 4th, so that's like 8 guys if you're Chase, and it's 9 if you're Sane. So
Chuba.
Yeah, well, I would take Jamar Jefferson over Gainwell for sure. He's my RB4, and then I would take Chuba RB5. I would take Gainwell RB6.
You're making me nauseous. You're making me nauseous right now.
So anyway, Chase is completely wrong, but the upside to that is just overdraft Kenneth Gainwell in your leagues, or if you're sitting there like 207 and Gainwell is still on the board as he should be,
or 107.
He's going to weigh in at 215, and he's still going to maintain his speed because he had the entire season to be able to develop, and he's going to melt faces. When he pushes Antonio Gibson out of his role, come on.
Okay, so you're drafting. So if you're a rookie draft and you're in a league with Chase, it's like the 207. You don't really like the 2nd round this year. Draft Gainwell, trade Chase for a first next year.
Exactly.
Instant profit.
You can turn that Gainwell into Breece Hall.
I might do that.
And it'll be a high first because Chase isn't going to do well. Based on these takes.
Get out of here.
I love Marvin Jones there. We didn't get into it much. But
Marvin. What do you think of Marvin? How would you rank these 3 receivers of 2021 between Marvin and Chark and Laviska, my guy Laviska, and Philip Dorsett if you're into that, and Colin Johnson if you're Chase?
Sucks for Colin Johnson, man. I was really hoping. I guess it hurts Chark more than anyone, right? Because Marvin Jones is
it hurts Colin Johnson more than anyone.
Well, Colin
Johnson.
It
doesn't. Colin Johnson's wide receiver 1.
Well, I mean,
in Jacksonville.
Okay, so I muted Chase again. Shane,
I swear. Hit me again.
He's gonna boot you out of your own show. What's this whole boot? Don't be booting me out. I'll tell you what, I love it for Sunshine though, because he's gonna have you got Chark, Marvin Jones, and Laviska as your wide receivers. That's not bad.
And Colin Johnson is your tight end.
And Colin Johnson is your backup tight end. Well, 3rd string tight end. I'm assuming
they're not going to use any tight ends.
No, because they're going to use Colin Johnson as the tight end.
In the tight end role. Yeah, he's tight end / fullback.
He honestly could. Okay, this is like I'm joking, but he could play a tight end style role where he's like a red zone specialist, right? Like he's 6'6", 230. He's an absolute mountain of a man.
But he's going to be playing on the outside. Like he won't line up in the slot.
Yeah, on the outside.
Yeah.
Like, so like there's a field, right? So there's the green, then there's the big white line that signals out of bounds, and that's where he'll be, right? He's on the side. There's usually chairs there and towels and fans sometimes when it gets hot.
He will be 3rd in snaps, and I'll place a bet on that. He'll be 3rd in snaps for the wide receivers.
Okay, who's he beating out?
The wide receivers.
Wait, but who's he beating out then? Marvin, Chark, or Laviska?
You sit there and you look at Shark's ability to stay healthy. I think they could easily seize that opportunity. Plus, if they get halfway through the year and they don't feel like they're going to win and Shark isn't doing what he should be doing, they can end up letting Shark walk essentially. So he can end up taking over that role that Shark plays, which is very similar. It's not completely different role. It's a downfield stretch type player. However, Colin Johnson, who's a long strider, does it more with jump ball abilities. We saw it last year with his deep catches. So I'm not saying that's going to happen.
Chark's. I mean,
I love Shark.
That's last year was a little disconcerting, his usage, but I mean, that guy's can be a complete wide receiver. You can use him anywhere on the field. So
I love Shark, by the way.
Now he's going to have basically the greatest quarterback that's ever played football, right? That's what Trevor Lawrence is.
Possibly. He's going to be good though. He's going to be a lot better than Gardner Minshew, Mike Glennon, and Jake Luton.
It's not even close. It's not even close. But yeah, Chark is just, he's got that 1 year deal left, but I'm done playing the game of, hey, they can let this guy go after this year for no dead cap because the cap doesn't exist.
AJ Dillon, never again. I'm seeing this PJ saying Chark's over the rest of the Jag wide receivers. I disagree with that. I think Chenault is the guy. He's the guy I prefer. He has a better profile, at least in my view, out of college. And I love what he did in his rookie year, right? Chark didn't do anything in his rookie year. Now, he had just started playing full snaps before he got hurt. He had a really strong second year, regressed in year 3. I think we could easily see a second year leap out of Chenault. And to me, I mean, his role is unchanged, right? You have Marvin Jones, who's a big downfield field stretcher.
Marvin Jones is in the slot.
No, I don't think so. I think Chenault's going to be in the slot, right? Marvin Jones is a classic outside field stretcher. Chark's an outside field stretcher. Colin Johnson, if he matters, is an outside field stretcher. Chenault's the guy who's going to be soaking up a lot of those PPR targets. And he's a guy that can go deep, right? He has deep speed. And he's got the size. He's a guy, in my opinion, that can play all 3 positions on the field. I mean, I'm a huge Laviska Shenault fan, but I also like Chark, and I like Marvin Jones. I mean, Marvin Jones is a guy, at least, too, that he can help an offense on like a 15% target share, right? If we're making a basketball analogy, he's a guy who can spot up in the corner like a Kyle Korver and drain threes when called upon. He doesn't have to take up everybody else's space in the room to be able to get his, and it's just going to be good for the offense.
Well, so what I like is me and you, either one of us could be right. Like, it could be Chenault or it could be Chark. And, I like both guys. It definitely will not be Colin Johnson. I think that's the only thing we can all agree on. Is it's either going to be Chark or Chenault. Marvin Jones is going to do what Marvin Jones usually does. He's going to outperform his ADP. Mm-hmm. He's going to be boom or bust. I hate that term, but he is.
He's the definition of boom or bust.
Shane, is Marvin Jones better in best ball?
I have no idea because I don't play fucking best ball because it's stupid. Set a goddamn lineup. Be an adult, goddamn it. Marvin Jones had 8 games where he scored under 10 fantasy points last year. But then he also had 8 games where he scored more than 10 fantasy points last year. So there's that. He is so boom bust, but I can't wait to see his booms with fucking.
I can't wait for the first game when Marvin Jones goes like 3 catches for 82 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. And then I can trade him away. No one's going to fall for it because they're going to be Marvin Jones.
They've been through this before.
Yeah, he's 32 years old. You're not fooling me, buddy.
All right. Any other comments on Jacksonville? By the way, Chase, I like Colin Johnson. I don't think he's more than the wide receiver 4 on that team, but he's on a lot of my benches. If I have any orphans in that league, I'll add you so you can trade for him.
I have in one of my major leagues that I have that I am set up to like absolutely just smash faces. I have DJ Chark, Chenault, Colin Johnson, and Marvin Jones Jr. So no matter what happens, I'm set. I'm good. I'm good. All right, who you got next for your free agent that you want to discuss, Jacob?
I think we've pretty much reached the end of the line here. Oh, really quick. The Raiders have decided offensive linemen are not necessary. How will this affect Derek Carr and Josh Jacobs? And then we got a really quick take on that, and then we're going to go through rapid-fire predictions on the remaining free agents here.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's bad when you don't have an offensive line.
That seems like a good take. Chase, do you think it's good or bad to not have an offensive line?
I just don't understand the question because I don't understand what the Raiders are doing. So...
Okay, that's about where I'm at too. Just wanted to let the people know that they're going to be running the Colt Anderson 4th and 2 QB sneak play where they just have one guy. I think that's Gruden's plan next year for the offense, but it should open up some snaps for Bryan Edwards. All right, these guys have not yet have a team. Kenny Golladay, Colts. Juju, Colts. Fuller, Colts. Curtis Samuel, Colts.
Mhm.
Do you think I went 4 for 4 there?
Oh, you
3
forgot
for
Gerald
4. Gerald Everett, Colts.
Colts.
Okay, let's start with Golladay. Where do you want Golladay to go? Anyone have an idea, a preference, a hope, an inkling?
I'm done guessing at this point. I give up.
Yeah, but you're on a fucking show, so try. Okay.
Jacksonville would have been good, but not now.
Not good for Colin Johnson.
Not for good Colin Johnson.
Oh.
Indianapolis wouldn't have been bad.
Yes, great.
Still
Okay,
want someone
perfect.
in
Good answer.
Indianapolis.
All right, that's enough. Chase, Golladay.
I Colts. Let's just go with that.
Perfect. All right, Juju Smith-Schuster. Where's he going?
Well,
Washington.
Sounds like a good idea.
Before the Raiders were giving up on the idea of an offensive line, I wouldn't have minded the Raiders. I thought that'd be a lot of targets from Carr there.
Juju's a good blocker, right?
Hmm?
He's a good blocker, right?
Raiders. I still like him with the Raiders.
Yeah, he's going to end up
Can
with the
he-
Raiders.
Can he
But
play right tackle?
Yeah, well, he'll have to.
Like, can he chip block? Like, this is a serious question because they're going to need to block.
Yeah, he's
in different
physical.
positions.
He's physical.
Okay, good. Raiders. I like the Raiders there. I think you'd fit great with the Raiders or the Dolphins. You know, any of those quarterbacks that are really great in the short area of the field. What about Will Fuller? Pretty much the brand ambassador for how I play fantasy football. Where do you think Will Fuller will end up?
Dolphins.
I haven't
take one
heard
of
anything
Smiths.
about him, hey?
Yeah.
Dolphins? You like Dolphins? I mean, if does Tua have a deep ball? Like, is that something he possesses?
Yes.
Shane, can you try and pronounce Tua's name?
Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, there we go. It's always my favorite part of the show.
Got it. Right. I just want Will Fuller to go anywhere where they throw the ball a lot. But nobody needs a number 1 wide receiver anymore, do they?
No, but I still want him on the Packers, right? They wanted him at the deadline.
I wouldn't mind the pack. I wouldn't mind. Yeah, anybody that gets Aaron Rodgers as their starting quarterback, it's really hard to be upset with that landing spot. So yeah, I guess the Packers wouldn't be bad.
The Chiefs also could work.
Maybe the Texans.
Yeah, that would be great. It would be better than what else the Texans spent money on? Mark Ingram and Tyrod Taylor so far.
Yeah, that's not great, Bob.
You said Dolphins for Fuller. You said Texans for Fuller. I don't know. I'm just saying Colts for all of them because I'm trying to will them into existence. Curtis Samuel, probably my favorite player remaining. Maybe not the best, but certainly the closest to my heart. Curtis Samuel. We haven't heard much about these wide receivers.
I think they're waiting for one to set the market.
He's another guy.
Didn't Nelson Aguilar set the market?
Yes. I want him in Green Bay in
Green Bay.
actuality. I got him as
That sounds great.
Athletic Randall Cobb role.
Yeah, that works for me. Chris Carson, he's been linked to the Patriots. That seems terrible. Where would you like to see
Leonard
Carson,
Fournette.
and why is it not the Patriots? Yeah, Fournette's being linked to Seattle too, and that's the one that I choose to believe because it's better than the Patriots or the Bucks.
Yeah, I love Seattle for Fournette. I love any running back that's still on the market. Seattle is where I want them to
Right.
play.
Great spot for Chris Carson too. I think he would do well there.
Chris Carson's probably going to end up for the Steelers.
Oh, I love that. I mean, if we get to have Carson on early downs, run AMC, coming in on passing situations, never ever look at Benny Snell again. Sounds great to me.
All right, we got to wrap up because I know Shane has another show.
Yes, we do. All right. Really quick, Shane, where can we find you?
At my apartment.
Okay, where can we find you if we're not a domestic terrorist?
At Shane is the worst.
Great
Hosting multiple podcasts and writings and things.
Great.
There we
Succinct
go.
as always. Chase, where can we find you?
You guys can find me at FF_intervention, of course, and join our circle _. Go give us a follow on Twitter and go check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/fantasyintervention.
All right, you can find me on Twitter, FF_RTDB. Chris Ballard, Christopher, I'm talking to you. In Chris Ballard we trust, but also please wake up from your long nap and sign a freaking player. All right, how are we going? Please sign someone, Chris.